In the heart of the city, the streets were alive with noise, movement, and color. Cars of every shape and size roared past, leaving trails of exhaust and excitement. People walked hurriedly along the sidewalks, focused on their own lives. Among the city's chaos, one vehicle stood out more than any other. It was a $10 million sports car, shining like a diamond under the bright sun. Its body was polished to perfection, its wheels gleamed, and its engine was known to roar with a sound that could turn heads across the block. The owner of the car, Mr. Harold Green, was a man known for his immense wealth. His tall, imposing figure carried an air of authority. He had earned his money through smart investments and brilliant business decisions. His home was a mansion with high walls, golden gates, and a driveway that could fit dozens of cars. Yet today, all his power and money could not solve one problem. The car was broken. It had stopped working earlier that day, refusing to respond to any command. No mechanic could figure out what was wrong. Experts had been called from across the country. They had examined the engine, the electronics, and even the tires. Each had left with a shake of the head. Nothing could bring the car back to life. Mr. Green's face was tense. He paced his driveway, running his fingers through his silver hair. His eyes were fixed on the car, filled with frustration and disbelief. "How can this happen?" he muttered to himself. "I have the best mechanics in the world. This car is supposed to be flawless." A line of mechanics stood near the car. They were professionals, each with years of experience. They had brought tools, diagnostic machines, and even specialized equipment designed for the rarest vehicles. Each mechanic had tried everything they knew. They had replaced fuses, reset circuits, and even opened the engine compartments. But the car did not move. One mechanic, a tall man named Robert, wiped sweat from his forehead and shook his head. "Sir, I don't know what else to do. This car is beyond repair with the methods we have." Another, a woman named Helen, frowned as she checked her tablet. "I have never seen anything like this. The car's systems are completely unresponsive. I'm sorry, but it may be time to consider replacing it." The words hit Mr. Green like a thunderbolt. "Replacing it?" he said, his voice rising. "Do you understand what this car is? It is one of a kind. Losing it is not an option." He ran a hand over his face and took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. While the mansion was filled with frustration, just a few streets away, a young girl named Mina was walking along the sidewalk. She moved quickly but quietly, her worn shoes tapping lightly on the pavement. She pushed a small cart filled with a few belongings, old books, and scraps that she had collected throughout the day. Her hair was messy and her clothes were tattered, but her eyes were bright, full of curiosity and intelligence. Mina had learned to survive on the streets. She knew which corners were safe, where the food could be found, and how to avoid trouble. Most people ignored her. They saw a small homeless girl and thought she had nothing to offer. But Mina had a sharp mind. She noticed details that others missed and could solve problems in ways most people would not imagine. As she walked, she overheard a group of people talking. "Did you hear about the billionaire's car?" One man said. "No mechanic can fix it. They say it's impossible." Mina stopped. Her interest was piqued. She had never seen a $10 million car. But the idea of something so difficult to fix excited her mind. She wondered why no one could repair it. Maybe there was a simple solution that everyone had overlooked. She continued walking, following the sounds of voices and engines until she arrived near the mansion. The golden gates were closed, but the driveway was visible from the sidewalk. Mina could see the car, its polished surface reflecting the sky. Around it, the mechanics moved in and out, looking worried. Mr. Green noticed her standing there. He frowned and called out, "Who are you? You should not be here." Mina lifted her hand slightly. "I just wanted to see," she said softly. The mechanics laughed at the sight of the small girl. "Do you think a child can fix this car?" one of them said, shaking his head. Mina smiled, but she did not reply. Instead, she stepped closer, her eyes scanning the car carefully. She noticed things the mechanics had not. The way a wire was slightly out of place, the faint marks on the dashboard, the small scratches near the ignition. Her mind worked quickly, connecting pieces of information that others had ignored. After a few minutes, she turned to Mr. Green. "Give me a minute," she said confidently. The mechanics laughed louder. "You heard her, sir. She is asking for a minute." "Can you believe it?" Mr. Green looked at her, his face a mixture of anger and curiosity. He wanted to dismiss her immediately, but something about her confidence caught his attention. He had spent his life solving impossible problems. Maybe this girl had a spark that no one else had. "Very well," he said slowly. "You have 1 minute. Show me what you can do." Mina nodded and stepped closer to the car. She crouched down, examining the engine from a low angle. She ran her fingers over wires, tested small switches, and studied the dashboard with careful attention. Her mind raced as she remembered all the things she had learned from books, scraps of manuals, and observations over the years. The mechanics watched her with growing disbelief. One whispered to another, "There is no way she can fix it. She is just a child." But Mina did not hear them. She was focused entirely on the car. She traced a tiny wire that had been disconnected in a place where no one thought to check. She adjusted a small component, pressed a button, and then stepped back. The car remained silent for a moment. Then slowly the engine roared to life. The sound was powerful and pure, unlike anything the mechanics had expected. The wheels turned, the lights flashed, and the car was ready to move. Everyone froze. Mr. Green's eyes widened in shock. "How?" he whispered. Mina smiled. "Sometimes the answer is simple," she said. The mechanics could not believe what they had just seen. A small girl whom they had ignored had done what they could not. Mr. Green stepped forward, extending a hand toward her. "You have extraordinary talent," he said. "I have never seen anyone with such skill and confidence." Mina hesitated, then shook his hand. She did not want money or praise, but she felt proud. For the first time, someone had seen her for more than her clothes or her life on the street. The day ended with the car running smoothly, the mechanics silent and humbled. Mina walked away, her cart beside her, disappearing into the city streets. But she had left a mark. She had shown that talent could come from anywhere, and that no problem was too difficult when someone had the courage and skill to face it. The sound of the car's engine stayed in Mr. Green's mind for hours. It had been broken for days, and dozens of experts had failed to bring it back to life. Yet one girl, a young stranger from the streets, had done it in a single minute. He could not forget that. Her calm face, her confident tone, and her quiet skill replayed in his thoughts again and again. After Mina left the mansion that evening, the workers packed their tools in silence. The mechanics avoided each other's eyes. They were professionals, yet they had been outsmarted by a girl who owned nothing but a cart and an old jacket. Mr. Green dismissed them politely, though he was clearly disappointed. When the driveway was empty, he stood near the car and looked at it once more. The vehicle purred softly. Every system worked perfectly. It was hard to believe that one missing wire had caused so much trouble. But what amazed him most was not the car's recovery. It was the girl's mind. The next morning, while Mr. Green sat in his office reading the newspaper, the car's story appeared on the front page. The headline read, "Billionaire's supercar fixed by unknown street girl." The article described the entire scene, how all the mechanics had failed, and how a young homeless girl named Mina had walked in and solved the mystery. Mr. Green did not remember seeing any reporters that day, so someone must have shared the story. Still, he did not mind. He looked at the photo in the paper, showing the moment Mina had stood near the car, smiling slightly as the engine started. He felt something he had not felt in years, curiosity mixed with admiration. In another part of the city, Mina was sitting on a park bench, reading an old book she had found in a trash bin. The book was about machines and how they worked. She had always loved learning. She did not have teachers or a classroom, but she taught herself everything she could by reading, watching, and experimenting. When she walked past a repair shop, she would stop to watch the workers. She studied how they used tools, how they connected wires, and how they tested engines. She never interrupted them, but she remembered every detail. Her memory was strong, and her understanding grew with each observation. That morning, as she read quietly, she noticed people whispering nearby. Some looked at her, then turned away quickly. At first, she thought something was wrong, but when she saw a man holding a newspaper with her photo on it, her eyes widened. She realized the story had spread across the city. Mina did not know whether to feel happy or afraid. She had never wanted attention. Being noticed on the streets was not always safe. Still, she felt a spark of pride. She had done something good. A black car stopped near the park, and a man in a gray suit stepped out. He walked toward her politely. "Are you Mina?" he asked. She nodded slowly, holding her book close. "Yes, why?" "I work for Mr. Green," the man said. "He would like to speak with you." He asked me to bring you to his home. Mina hesitated. She had no reason to trust rich people. Many of them ignored people like her. But she remembered the way Mr. Green had looked at her. Not with disgust, but with real curiosity. After a moment, she nodded. "All right," she said. The car ride to the mansion was quiet. Mina looked out the window, watching the tall buildings pass by. Her heart beat quickly. She wondered why he wanted to see her again. When they arrived, Mr. Green was waiting in his study. He stood as she entered, smiling slightly. "It is good to see you again," he said kindly. "Please have a seat." Mina sat carefully on the edge of the chair, unsure how to act in such a big, elegant room. The walls were lined with books and framed photos. Everything looked clean and expensive. "I wanted to thank you properly," Mr. Green said. "You did something incredible yesterday. You fixed a car that even the best professionals could not repair. You have talent, Mina." She looked down, shy but proud. "I just saw something they missed," she said. "It was simple once I noticed it." "That is what makes it special," Mr. Green replied. "Most people only see what they expect to see. You saw what was really there." "That is rare," he paused, studying her. "Tell me, where did you learn about machines?" Mina shrugged. "From books, mostly. Old manuals I find in bins. I like to read them. And I watch people fix things." Mr. Green was silent for a moment. Then he asked gently, "Do you have a place to live?" Mina shook her head. "Not really. I stay where I can. Sometimes in the park, sometimes in a shelter." He leaned back in his chair, thinking carefully. "You have a gift, Mina. You understand machines in a way that cannot be taught easily. I want to help you. Would you be willing to come here and work for me? You could learn more, and I could make sure you have food, clothes, and a place to stay." Mina looked at him with wide eyes. "Work here? For you?" "Yes," he said with a nod. "Not as a servant. As an apprentice. Someone I can mentor and support. You would have access to tools, books, and teachers. You could build a future." For a moment, Mina could not speak. Her mind filled with thoughts. A warm bed. A safe place. Tools she could use. Knowledge she could gain. It felt like a dream. She hesitated only a second before nodding. "I will try my best," she said softly. "That is all I ask," Mr. Green replied. He smiled and called for his assistant. "Get her something to eat and prepare a room for her." As Mina followed the assistant down the hall, she felt both nervous and excited. The mansion was like a world she had never known. The air smelled clean, the lights were bright, and the floors shone like mirrors. The assistant showed her to a small but comfortable room. There was a bed, a desk, and a window that looked out over the garden. Mina ran her hand over the blanket. It was the softest thing she had ever felt. After eating a warm meal, she walked outside to see the garage where the billionaire's cars were kept. Rows of shining vehicles stood in perfect order. She looked at them with wide eyes, studying their shapes and designs. She wanted to learn everything about them. Mr. Green joined her there. "This is where you'll spend your time," he said. "I want you to observe, study, and help when you can." "I believe you will do great things," Mina smiled. "Thank you for trusting me," she said. From that day forward, Mina's life began to change. She woke early each morning, worked in the garage, and read late into the night. Mr. Green introduced her to his engineers and mechanics, asking them to teach her. Many were skeptical at first, but when they saw her quick learning and clever ideas, they began to respect her. She learned to read blueprints, design small parts, and understand complex systems. Within weeks, she was fixing small machines that others had given up on. Her hands were steady, her eyes sharp, and her curiosity endless. Mr. Green watched her progress with quiet pride. He often said to his staff, "Talent can come from anywhere. All it needs is a chance." Mina never forgot where she came from, and she never stopped working hard. The girl who once lived on the streets was now surrounded by tools, machines, and people who believed in her. For the first time, she began to see a future brighter than she had ever imagined. Mina's days quickly filled with learning, working, and exploring. Each morning she woke early, eager to start her day in the garage. The smell of metal, oil, and fuel greeted her as soon as she stepped inside. She loved the quiet hum of engines and the soft clicking sounds of tools. To her, machines were like puzzles waiting to be solved. Mr. Green often watched her from the corner of the room. He was amazed by her patience. She never rushed, never guessed. She studied each problem carefully, sometimes sitting still for several minutes before making her first move. What others called luck, he recognized as observation and logic. Within weeks, Mina had become part of the mansion's staff. Everyone knew her now. The chefs waved when she passed through the kitchen, and the gardeners greeted her kindly when she crossed the yard. Even the guards respected her, for they had seen her fix machines faster than the most skilled workers. One afternoon, Mr. Green invited a few engineers to his home. They were experts from large companies who built and tested advanced cars. They had heard about Mina from the news, but many of them still doubted the story. They believed it was exaggerated. When they arrived, the large garage was filled with polished cars and clean workbenches. Mina stood near one of the vehicles wearing a simple uniform and holding a wrench. Her hair was tied back, her eyes sharp and focused. Mr. Green greeted the guests warmly. "Thank you for coming," he said. "I wanted you to meet the young woman who fixed the unfixable car." The engineers looked at Mina, exchanging quiet smiles. One of them, a tall man named Victor, stepped forward. "So this is the famous girl," he said politely. "You must be very lucky to have found the right wire." Mina met his eyes. "It was not luck," she said calmly. "It was a mistake others missed." Victor raised an eyebrow. "Is that so? Then maybe you can show us again. I brought a car that no one in my team could fix. Perhaps you can impress us a second time." Mr. Green noticed the challenge in his tone, but he allowed it. "Bring the car in," he said. The men rolled in a sleek black vehicle with a strange problem. Its engine would start for a few seconds, then stop without warning. No test could identify the cause. Victor handed Mina a tablet filled with data and said, "We have tried everything. Let's see what your eyes can find." Mina nodded and began her work. She opened the hood, leaned closer, and listened carefully as she tested the engine. Her movements were slow and deliberate. The engineers whispered among themselves, amused by her silence. But Mr. Green said nothing. He trusted her process. After 15 minutes, Mina spoke. "You changed the filter recently," she said. Victor looked surprised. "How do you know that?" "It is new, but it was installed backward," Mina said. That caused air pressure to drop in the system. The car stops to protect itself. The engineers quickly checked the part. She was right. The filter had been placed the wrong way. When they corrected it, the engine started smoothly and kept running. A hush filled the garage. Mr. Green smiled with pride. Victor's face turned red, but he nodded. "Impressive," he admitted. "You have a good eye." The other engineers began asking her questions. Mina answered each one clearly, explaining her methods in simple words. She did not speak like a scientist, but her logic was flawless. They realized that her understanding came not from training, but from deep observation and a natural sense of how things worked. After that day, news of her talent spread quickly again. Magazines wrote about her, calling her the girl who could fix anything. Reporters wanted interviews, but Mr. Green kept her away from the cameras. He wanted her to focus on learning, not fame. Mina continued to grow. She studied late at night, reading books from Mr. Green's library. He gave her lessons on business, science, and design. Sometimes he sat beside her and shared stories from his life. He told her how he had built his empire from nothing, how he had faced failure many times before success. Mina listened carefully, learning not just about machines, but about discipline and character. One evening, as they sat in the study, Mr. Green asked her a question. "Mina, what do you want for your future?" She thought for a moment before answering. "I want to build something that helps people. Maybe machines that make life easier for those who have nothing. Like I once did," Mr. Green smiled. "That is a noble dream, and I will help you reach it." From that moment, he began treating her as more than an apprentice. He gave her small projects of her own. He asked her to design tools for his workshop and to improve systems in his cars. She worked hard, always careful, always curious, but not everyone was happy about her success. Some workers in the mansion whispered behind her back. A few engineers outside the house felt jealous that a girl from the streets was gaining attention. They began spreading rumors, saying she was only lucky, or that Mr. Green was exaggerating her abilities. One afternoon, while Mina was testing a new engine model, she overheard two workers talking. "She acts like she knows everything," one said. "But she's just a street kid who got lucky once." Mina did not confront them. She simply turned back to her work. She had learned that actions spoke louder than words. Later that week, Mr. Green received an invitation to a grand exhibition in the city. It was an event where inventors, engineers, and companies presented new technologies. He decided to attend and take Mina with him. "This will be a good chance for you to see how the industry works," he said, "and maybe show them what true skill looks like." When the day came, Mina wore a clean white shirt and simple black trousers. She tied her hair neatly and stood beside Mr. Green as they entered the large exhibition hall. The place was filled with lights, machines, and people in elegant clothes. Many of the engineers who had doubted her were there too. Victor was among them, showing off his company's newest electric car model. When he saw Mina, he smiled thinly. "So the street girl is here too," he said quietly. "Let's see if she can handle real competition." Mina ignored his tone and walked through the hall, studying every display. She was fascinated by the technology, but also noticed many small mistakes in designs that others overlooked. Her sharp eyes caught every detail. When it was time for Mr. Green's presentation, he surprised everyone by inviting Mina to speak. "She is my apprentice," he announced. "She will explain our new system for automatic repair detection." The crowd turned their attention to her. Mina stepped forward, took a deep breath, and began explaining the system in clear, simple words. She described how machines could identify their own faults using pattern recognition, a concept she had helped develop. The audience listened closely. Her explanation was easy to understand yet deeply intelligent. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. Even Victor looked impressed, though he tried not to show it. Reporters rushed forward to ask questions. Mr. Green watched with pride. That night, as they returned home, Mina felt overwhelmed, but happy. She looked at Mr. Green and said softly, "Thank you for believing in me." He smiled warmly. "You earned it, Mina. You have shown that true talent needs no background, only hard work and courage." Mina looked out of the car window as the city lights passed by. For the first time in her life, she felt she truly belonged somewhere. She knew her journey was just beginning, and there were still many challenges ahead, but she was ready for all of them. After the grand exhibition, Mina's name began to spread across the city. Articles praised her intelligence and talent. People called her the genius who came from the streets. Some saw her as an inspiration, while others questioned her abilities. Fame brought both praise and doubt. Mr. Green noticed how quickly her story was growing. He tried to protect her from too much attention, but it was not easy. Reporters waited outside the mansion gates. Companies sent letters offering her money to work for them. Some engineers who once mocked her now wanted her help. Mina stayed humble. She thanked everyone but refused to leave Mr. Green's side. He had given her a chance when no one else cared. To her, loyalty mattered more than fame. She continued working in the garage, studying and building new designs. Every evening she sat by the window of her small room, sketching machines in her notebook. One morning, Mr. Green entered the garage with serious eyes. "Mina," he said, "we have a big problem. One of my newest cars has failed during testing. It was supposed to be ready for investors next week. If it is not fixed in time, we will lose a huge deal." Mina stood up quickly. "What happened to it?" "The car shuts down after a few minutes of driving," Mr. Green explained. "Our best engineers have been working for 2 days, but they cannot find the problem. The investors are arriving soon. I need you to look at it." Mina nodded and followed him to the testing area. The car was sleek and silver, with a design that looked like something from the future. A group of engineers stood around it, their faces tired and frustrated. When they saw Mina, some looked annoyed. They knew her reputation, but pride made them uncomfortable asking for her help. Victor was there too. He had joined the company as a consultant after the exhibition. Though he respected Mina's talent, a small part of him still wanted to prove he was better. "So they called you again," he said with a smirk. "Let's see if you can save the day twice." Mina ignored his tone and focused on the car. She opened the hood, checked the circuits, and listened carefully as the engine ran. The sound was uneven, like something was holding it back. She closed her eyes for a moment, listening deeply. Her sharp ears picked up a faint ticking sound that others missed. She asked one of the engineers, "Did you install a new fuel system recently?" "Yes," the engineer replied. "It is a new model meant to increase speed and reduce waste." Mina nodded. "That system needs a balanced air control valve. If it gets too much air, the engine stops to prevent damage." The engineer frowned. "But we checked that part twice." Mina walked to the side of the car, crouched down, and examined a small silver valve hidden behind a metal plate. It was a tiny piece, almost invisible to the eye. She touched it lightly, then turned to Mr. Green. "This is the problem," she said. "It is installed in the wrong direction. The airflow is reversed." The engineers rushed to see what she meant. They realized she was right. The valve had been placed backward during assembly. They quickly corrected it. When Mina started the car again, the engine roared smoothly. The team was stunned. Victor crossed his arms, trying not to show surprise. Mr. Green smiled with relief. "You did it again, Mina," he said proudly. "You just saved us," but Mina shook her head. "It was a team mistake," she said humbly. "We all learned something. That day the car was ready for the investors. The presentation went perfectly, and Mr. Green secured the deal. Everyone celebrated, but Mina felt something strange in her heart. She noticed that not everyone was happy for her. Some engineers whispered when she passed. Their pride was hurt by her success. A few days later, when she entered the garage, she noticed something unusual. One of the cars she had been testing the previous day was missing. She asked the guard, and he said it had been taken to a workshop downtown for adjustments. But Mina knew she had not approved that. She felt uneasy. That evening, Mr. Green called her into his office. His expression was serious. "Mina," he said, "someone has told the media that you damaged one of our cars. They claim your mistake caused a financial loss." Mina's eyes widened. "That is not true," she said quickly. "I never damaged anything." "I know," Mr. Green replied. "But we must prove it. The reporters want a statement tomorrow. If we cannot show evidence, our company's name will suffer." Mina felt her stomach tighten. She knew someone was trying to harm her reputation. That night she could not sleep. She sat by her window thinking about what had happened. Then she remembered the missing car. Something told her that the truth was hidden there. Early the next morning, before sunrise, she went to the downtown workshop. The place was quiet, filled with cars waiting for repairs. She searched until she found the missing one. When she opened its hood, she saw that the wires had been deliberately cut. It was not an accident. Someone wanted it to look like her fault. Mina took photos and returned to the mansion. When she arrived, reporters were already waiting outside the gate. They shouted questions as she walked past them. Mr. Green was standing in the hall, surrounded by journalists and workers. Victor was there too, his face calm but unreadable. Mina stepped forward. "I know what happened," she said clearly. "Someone damaged the car on purpose." The reporters turned their cameras toward her. Mr. Green gestured for silence. "Show us your proof," he said. Mina placed the photos on the table. "These cuts are clean and planned. No accident looks like this. Whoever did it knew exactly which wires to cut." The engineers examined the photos and nodded. One of them whispered, "She's right. This was sabotage." Mr. Green turned to the group. "Who had access to the workshop last night?" he asked. A guard stepped forward nervously. "Only 2 people signed in, sir. Mina and Victor." The room went silent. Victor's face turned pale. "I went there only to check the progress," he said quickly. Mina looked at him calmly. "Then why did I find your gloves inside the car?" She reached into her pocket and placed a pair of black gloves on the table. "They have your initials." The room filled with whispers. Victor tried to speak, but the truth was clear. He had tried to damage her reputation out of jealousy. Mr. Green's expression hardened. "You are dismissed," he said firmly. "This company has no place for dishonesty." Victor lowered his head and walked out without a word. After the reporters left, Mr. Green turned to Mina. "You handled this with courage," he said. "You did not hide or complain. You searched for the truth. I am proud of you." Mina felt relief wash over her. "I only wanted to protect your trust," she said softly. "You have done more than that," he replied. "You have proven that honesty and skill always win." From that day, her place in the company was no longer questioned. Everyone respected her not only for her talent but for her strength of character. She continued her work more determined than ever. She knew that success brought challenges, but she also knew that true power came from patience, truth, and kindness. That night, as she stood in the garden looking at the stars, she felt a quiet joy in her heart. She had once been a girl with nothing but a cart and a dream. Now she was someone who could change her world with her mind and her courage. Months passed since the sabotage incident. Life inside the Green Mansion had returned to peace. The engineers now respected Mina completely. They no longer saw her as a lucky girl from the streets, but as a true genius who had earned her place with hard work and skill. Mr. Green's trust in her grew stronger every day. He often invited her to meetings and asked her opinions about new projects. Sometimes, he watched her working in the garage late at night, focused and calm, her hands moving with perfect precision. He could see something rare in her, a heart full of kindness and a mind that never stopped learning. One morning, Mr. Green called her to his office. "Mina," he said, "I want to create something new. Not just another car for the rich. I want a car that can help the world. Something clean, powerful, and affordable. Something that changes lives, not just impresses people." Mina's eyes brightened. "You mean a car that uses no fuel?" "Yes," Mr. Green replied. "A car that runs on clean energy. No smoke, no sound, no waste. Can you design such a thing?" Mina smiled softly. "I can try." From that day, she worked day and night in the lab. She studied engines, batteries, and renewable energy. She tested hundreds of small models. Some failed, some exploded, and some came close to success. But she never gave up. The other engineers often watched her in surprise. She worked longer hours than anyone else. When they went home, she stayed. When they got tired, she kept going. She ate little, slept little, but her spirit never broke. She believed that her invention could change the future. Weeks turned into months. Then one evening, something amazing happened. Mina was testing a new model she had built from scratch. It looked simple, almost like a toy car. But when she turned it on, it moved silently, powered only by air and solar light. The small engine ran smoothly without heat, without smoke, and without fuel. Her heart jumped with excitement. She quickly took notes, adjusted the design, and tested again. The result was perfect. She had done it. She had created the world's first air-light engine. The next morning, she went to Mr. Green's office, holding the small model in her hands. "Sir," she said, smiling proudly, "I think I found it." Mr. Green looked at the model and raised his eyebrows. "Show me." They went to the test room, where she placed the small model on a flat table. She pressed a small button, and the engine started quietly. It ran faster and faster, using only air pressure and sunlight. The engineers around her gasped in amazement. "This is not possible," one of them whispered. Mina turned to them. "It is possible. The engine uses a combination of air compression and solar absorption. It stores sunlight and uses it to push air through tiny chambers. No fuel is needed, only nature itself." Mr. Green looked at her with deep pride. "Mina, this is more than a car engine. This is the future." He immediately ordered his team to build a full-sized prototype based on Mina's design. The entire company began working under her guidance. Everyone wanted to see her vision come to life. It took 3 months to build the first car. It was beautiful, light and silent. The body shone like silver glass and the engine made no noise. They called it the Aurora 1. Mina had named it herself because, she said, it brings light where there was darkness. The day of the public reveal arrived. Journalists, scientists, and leaders from all over the world came to see it. The stage was set outside the Green Mansion. Banners waved in the wind, and the Aurora 1 stood in the center like a piece of art. Mr. Green walked on stage with Mina by his side. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. He raised his hand and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, today we show you a new future. This car is not powered by oil or electricity. It is powered by air and sunlight. It was designed by a young woman who once had nothing but a dream. Her name is Mina." The crowd cheered as Mina stepped forward. Her heart raced, but she stayed calm. She started the car and the engine came alive, soft and smooth. The car moved across the stage without any sound. Everyone watched in awe as it glided like a whisper. Reporters surrounded her after the demonstration. They asked how she did it, what inspired her, and what she planned next. Mina smiled shyly. "I only wanted to make something good for people. If a girl like me can do this, then anyone can change their life." That night, the news spread around the world. Every newspaper and television channel talked about the Aurora One and the girl who invented it. Governments and companies sent letters, asking for partnerships. Scientists praised her design as the most important discovery of the decade. Mina became a symbol of hope. Schools used her story to inspire children. People who had once laughed at her now spoke her name with respect. But Mina did not let fame change her. She still lived simply. She still worked in the same small room in the mansion. One evening, Mr. Green found her sitting in the garden looking at the stars. "You know," he said softly, "when I first met you, you were fixing a broken car with your bare hands. Now you are fixing the world." Mina smiled. "You gave me a chance, sir. Without that, I would still be on the street." Mr. Green shook his head. "No, Mina. You gave yourself the chance. I only saw what was already inside you." A quiet breeze passed through the garden. The moonlight touched the flowers, and everything seemed peaceful. Mina looked up at the sky. "Do you think people will use this invention to help others?" she asked. "I believe they will," Mr. Green said, "because it was created with love, not greed." Years later, the Aurora engine became common around the world. It changed transportation forever. Cities became cleaner, quieter, and safer. People no longer worried about fuel or pollution. Mina continued to design new things: flying vehicles, water-powered machines, and systems that helped poor villages get clean energy. She built a research center for young inventors who had no money for education. She named it the Hope Workshop. Every year, she taught children how to dream, how to build, and how to believe in themselves. One day, a reporter asked her, "What is your greatest achievement?" She smiled and replied, "Not the car, not the fame. My greatest achievement is showing others that even someone forgotten can shine if given a chance." When she returned to her office, she looked at her old toolbox, the same one she had used when she was homeless. It was worn and scratched, but it reminded her of her journey. She placed it on her desk and whispered, "Thank you for never giving up." Mr. Green, now older and gray, often visited her workshop. He watched the children laughing and learning and said, "You have created more than machines, Mina. You have created hope." And she answered, "That was always the real invention." The sun set behind the city, painting the sky with gold. The sound of children working in the workshop mixed with the quiet hum of the Aurora cars on the road. The world had changed because one young girl dared to say, "Give me a minute."